See that passion level, that how much he wanted to be a part of it, and building this organization up again, certainly was one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring him back in this situation.
Jason, to be able to interview everybody you wanted to interview, you had to wait a long time.
Yep.
Was it difficult to be patient?
Certainly, it was a difficult process from that, but I certainly enjoyed the process. It is time consuming. You sit down with people, but I also was blown away by the quality of the candidates and just the dialogue, and I certainly enjoyed the process. Just you have so many other things going on. It was difficult, but you're following the teams that were going into the conference finals and the finals. You knew that this was certainly a possibility, but it's also what draws you to these guys is playing, having teams in the finals. You want to try to bring a winning attitude into the organization, and you want to try to bring winners to the Buffalo Sabres organization.
Jason, with how
people
new
don't know Phil Housley, if you're young players, don't remember him as a player, how much does the instant respect factor, you can say, I just hired Hall of Famer, carry in that bar?
Well, I think, and if you talk to Phil about it, I think there is that credibility right off the bat. But even in talking with Phil just doesn't, rest on that. Yeah, it may have some credibility with his players right off the bat, but then if you don't back it up, if you're not helping them get better, it's going to dissipate very quickly. And that's what I liked about Phil and talking with him, is that he touches on that. He touches on, hopefully, that there's a respect level right off the bat, and I know what some of their experiences, certainly of the star players, because he was one in his day. But then that's where you talk to anybody, his preparation, his detail for his meeting, how articulate he is in his meetings. That really comes across to the players, and the players realize he's out to help these guys achieve their goals.
Jason, as crazy as the past couple of weeks must have been for you with the Cup and then this search process, I mean, the next month, I mean, how do you feel as far as preparedness for all of that, with how much is still brand new here?
There's still obviously a feeling out process, getting to know players and your staff members, but my dialogues with other GMs in preparation for the expansion draft and for the draft and for free agency, I felt very well prepared. Like the amount of resources that this organization has is very impressive from an analytics standpoint, from pro scouts, and I've been getting a lot of great opinions. Is there still a feeling out process? Yes, but I've gotten a lot of information from it. And then on the amateur side, I think Jeff Crisp and Kevin Devine have done an amazing job in preparation for it, and we feel we're ready for whatever may materialize at the start of the draft next week.
Are you set with George McPhee? Have you had your conversations, and are you set for it?
I've had conversations with him, and I think that's a two-step process. Like, obviously, I think we feel comfortable where we're at right now. You never know what can change in the next couple hours or a couple days here. But then there's the unknown. It's once you hand your list over, there's a whole other market that George is going to have at, and with other teams now involved with that. But we feel comfortable where we're at in that process, and George has been very fair to us.
Are you open to anything with the number 8 pick, keeping it, trading it, any type of player with it?
I think you always have to be open to it. My mindset, especially with the high pick, is always taking the best player available in that scenario. I think drafting for a position in hockey is so difficult. I think maybe it goes on a little bit more in other sports such as football, but for hockey, things change so quickly, and you're drafting 18-year-olds. These players are coming 2-4 years down the road. But look, we've tried to have discussions with some teams already about moving up and moving back, but I think because there's no set 1 or 2 players at the top of the draft, you have to be prepared for all outcomes.
Do you have something in place with George where you know what's going to happen, or no?
I can't tell for sure what's there. We've talked about different parameters and different possibilities, but it's also very difficult for Las Vegas. They don't, you have 30 other teams giving them lists, so they can certainly make projections, but he's not going to be able to give final answers to most teams until he has all the information in front of him.
Do you anticipate Cal Peterson signing or going to free agency?
We're going to meet with him again next week, and it's obviously coming to the organization. I didn't have a strong relationship with Cal, but I've enjoyed our dialogues with him, and it's a situation where in the CBA he has that right, and both players and team utilize the right of the CBA, but through the whole process, we've continued to have our dialogues with him. He has good relationships with the goalie development staff in our organization, and we also think it's a great fit here, both in Buffalo and Rochester, for him to achieve his NHL goals.
Is there any indication that he might be waiting until the expansion draft shakes out to see where all the goalies land before really making a decision on whether to be here or elsewhere?
That's certainly a possibility. I think certainly just there's a lot of change in our organization too, whether it's the National Hockey League coach, myself coming in, who's going to be the coach in Rochester. So there's a lot that's going on, but the dialogues have always been very good with Cal.
Ethan, what's the status of Dan Bilesman's old assistant coaches?
It's a situation where we told them they have been allowed to talk to other teams, but it's a scenario where Phil will certainly sit down with them over the next few days or next week or so and see if there's a fit. And as I talked about during the press conference, it's going to be very important that we surround Phil with a staff that he feels comfortable and they can sort of rely on each other. And because I think nowadays, obviously the head guy has to be the leader of your group, but over a course of 82 games, you have to have strong assistant coaches who are empowered. And we just have to make sure there's a good fit for Phil.